I want to talk with you about something very important, something very beautiful, very possible that you might not know about. My name is Jay Rowan, and along with Rion's HL, I co-founded Sanctuary Birthing after more than 30 years as midwives, helping over 1,000 women to move through pregnancy and birth with health, power, beauty, gentleness, and love. What does this birth look like? We see a woman relaxing. Her birth hormones support a healthy labor, moving to her own rhythms, birthing without forced pushing, and joyfully reaching down to help receive her own baby. Nature's amazing birth elixir, a woman's hormonal blueprint, is made up of oxytocin, the love hormone, combined with beta endorphins, the feel-good hormones, to help a woman ride the waves of labor and create a hormonal glue deeply bonding mom and baby in the biggest love you can imagine. Sadly, this transformational rite of passage is not happening for most women. They're being ripped off by a broken maternity care system, managing labor and birth, pushing women through an assembly line of predictable care. And that is what I want to talk with you about today. Women like you and those you love are being managed and manipulated, accepting one intervention after another, so vulnerable and afraid if she doesn't accept everything her doctor or nurse tells her to do, something terrible may happen. Can you feel the fear? You know what I'm talking about. We are so afraid of birth and what might go wrong, we tell this to pregnant strangers at the grocery store or on the street. So what is happening to beautiful, pregnant and birthing women in this broken, fear-based system? Instead of being an important part of decision-making, instead of understanding that she absolutely does have a right to choose every aspect of care during pregnancy and birth, instead, women give their power away and accept being last at the bottom of the decision-making chain. We have all been conditioned to believe the doctor knows best, and women like you and your sisters and daughters and friends believe you can't possibly know what is best for you and your baby, and find yourselves asking, will they let me? Will they let me refuse an induction? Will they let me refuse an IV? Refuse an epidural? Will they let me walk around, eat, drink? Fill in the blanks. This miraculous woman who grew an amazing, healthy baby has been reduced to a mechanical process. Hospital administrators expect doctors and nurses to follow routine care procedures, leaving moms and babies with no voice. There is a cost to this kind of birth. Let me tell you Heather's story. Heather was processed in this pregnancy and birth assembly line, sitting in a packed waiting room at each visit for 20 to 30 minutes for a brief 3-minute check-in with her doctor. At each visit, the doctor said, "Everything is fine," before rushing off to the next patient, leaving Heather with so many unanswered questions. Preparing for the birth was filling out a birth plan form and attending a childbirth class all about medications and procedures, nothing about the natural, unmedicated birth Heather wanted so much. And then 3 days before the due date, she was scheduled to come into the hospital to see if her body was ready for labor. And with no signs that it was, they started her labor with a medication in an IV. After several hours of strong contractions and painful back labor, the nurse told Heather, "Your best chance to avoid a C-section is to have an epidural." The birth plan forgotten, afraid of the C-section, Heather agreed to the epidural, and then she just checked out and fell asleep. She slept the rest of the night, and when she awoke in the morning, they told her, "Now it's time to push." Unable to move, propped up in the bed, numb from the waist down, the nurse coached with each contraction, "Hold your breath, honey, and push hard." The doctor spent a total of 15 minutes with Heather during the entire labor to catch the baby and stitch her up. How would you feel after this kind of experience? Heather told us the whole thing was insane. It felt as though my baby was evicted from my womb. He cried all the time. He never slept. It was 5 months before he finally settled into a happy life outside the womb. Heather knew she needed to find another way. And with her next pregnancy, after working with us through a 5-step pathway to an amazing birth, she had this to say: childbirth and motherhood are empowering, and women should have a voice and be listened to. I developed so much confidence and trust in my body to birth, I knew I was capable of a natural childbirth. Heather's labor started when her body was ready. Her own birth hormones rocked the process. Heather said, this time my baby was ready for life on the outside. He was so much calmer and happier than my first. Mothers and babies are deeply affected by their birth experiences and remember their birth stories for the rest of their lives. Instead of painful, traumatic memories, let's make these memories joyful ones. My name is Jay Rowan, and at Sanctuary Birthing, we want you to know that if you or someone you love wants to make the most transformational moment of your life truly yours and not simply stolen away as though it doesn't matter, we've opened up 10 spaces in our calendar for amazing birth discovery sessions at no charge to you. If this video makes sense and you want to know more, click the button below and book your amazing birth discovery session right now. Thank you so much for taking this time with me today.